Passengers flying out of Vancouver International Airport may have to pack some snacks if unionized workers with a catering company go on strike. Employees of Gate Gourmet, which supplies meals, snacks, and beverages to airlines, have issued a 72-hour strike notice. Unite Here Local 40 says pandemic layoffs led to a significant reduction in staff, and workers haven't been replaced, despite a surge in air travel. This comes after WestJet narrowly avoided a strike action on Sunday after it reached a tentative labor deal with the union representing hundreds of workers at the Calgary and Vancouver airports. Meanwhile, airport delays continue to plague travelers as Toronto's Pearson Airport has topped a list of the world's worst airports for delays this summer. In fact, it was the only Canadian airport to crack the top 10 of a CNN list. All right, well, joining us now to give us an idea about how staffing issues and travel delays can impact the markets is Brendan Caldwell, Director of Caldwell Securities Limited. Brendan, welcome back.
Thank you, Nima. I'm glad to be here and not traveling.
Definitely. Now, we know Air Canada's earnings come out next week on August 1st, but their shares also dropped recently. What's the reason behind that, Brendan?
Well, I think you covered a lot of it. Despite the fact that people are wanting to travel, desperate to travel, both for business and for pleasure, we've been locked down for the last 2 years. And my kids have told me the only reason their generation is holding on at all is in the hopes that this will be the roaring 20s. Well, now that the caps are largely off, we can't actually go anywhere, at least not with any ease or enjoyment. So it's at the very time when the airlines should be doing a robust business. Air Canada's price is down roughly to the levels where it was during the summer of 2020.
Now, that's pretty concerning. And if we look at the other major Canadian airline here, WestJet, now WestJet stock was actually delisted last year. Why did that happen?
It was actually a little while before that. I think it was taken over by Onyx, which is a private equity firm. And I think they took it over, if I'm not mistaken, in 2019, which can't help but leave a little smirk on my face. But so if you want to play WestJet as an investment, Onyx is a good way of going about that. If you think this thing is going to get solved, if you want to play it as a straight up investment, sure, Air Canada, which is still a good airline to actually fly. It's just the coming and going, getting on and getting off is a bit of a problem. But if you want to play it in a hedged way, Onyx is the owner of WestJet.
Some good advice there, Brendan. Now, bringing this back to our viewers, they're seeing a lot of travel prices go up. So is this purely because of the rising price of fuel?
It's all of a piece. So yes, fuel prices are rising, and I don't think there's going to be a slowdown in that particularly. But also wages are rising. I mean, you talked about the strike during your intro. That's, again, not limited just even to the airline space. It's hard to get workers in any area. But then the price of just about everything else is going up as well. Plus, I mean, the cost of flying, if the planes aren't moving constantly, the cost to the airlines of keeping the planes goes up. So I mean, they want to keep those planes in motion in the air as much as possible. So there's a lot of factors going into it for the airlines, but it's, I think, symptomatic of a larger economic issue at play with a variety of industries.
All right, Brendan, about a minute and a half left here, but I want to jump to these delays we're seeing. We're seeing baggage delays, customs delays, travel delays. But considering a resurgence of travel was expected following the lifting of restrictions, where did our travel authorities go wrong in terms of preparing for this?
Well, you have to assume that they all assume that it's gone wrong. Because keep in mind, throughout COVID, the mentality has been they don't really want people to travel. Our government's been very clear about the fact they don't want people to travel. And given that we are the most restrictive country in terms of masking and testing, really that's out there, I mean, maybe not the most, but we're right up there. It's, I think, still the case that our government really doesn't want people to travel. So what we see as a bug, others may see as a feature. So now if you're a commercial airline, you're pointing the finger at the airports. If the airports, you're pointing the finger at the federal government. Everybody's pointing their finger at somebody else. But really, it will take a coordinated effort between the federal government, the airports, and the airlines to solve this. But what I think we're seeing universally is largely the fingers being pointed back at the passengers. Did you really need to travel anyway? So.
Some interesting things to consider, Brendan. Always an interesting conversation with you, Brendan. We look forward to having another one next week.